Okay, guys, we are back. There is a lot to talk about. Two main topics we are going to cover are Pfizer seeking FDA approval for a fourth COVID dose. And we are also talking about the fact that COVID cases are increasing. Guys, it's great that you're with me. I'm glad to see you guys. I'm Dr. Jen Caudle, practicing family physician, on air health expert, and video creator. All right, let's just jump to it. I've said for a while that I was concerned that we would have additional variants, that cases would go back up at some point. I'm not saying that I'm right, but I am saying that we are seeing signs of increased COVID cases. And this is what you should know, okay? What I'm about to read, the statistics and data that I'm giving you are from a multitude of news sources and also from the CDC data published on its website itself. Let's just start with COVID cases. So, first of all, you guys remember me talking about the BA2 variant. That's sort of the subvariant of Omicron. That's the Omicron subvariant. I've done videos on the BA2 variant. I'm not going to talk a lot about that variant tonight because I've done videos specifically on that. That was a variant that we started seeing at the end of like the big peak of Omicron, right? As it was coming back down, there was like a BA2 that was starting to pop up. And I remember I was calling it like the cousin for regular Omicron. Long story short, is BA2 Omicron variant we feel is more highly transmissible than the original Omicron. Scientists don't think it's necessarily more dangerous right now, but as I always say, in this world of COVID, it's important to kind of never say never. But this BA2 variant has sort of subtly, it's kind of been sort of percolating all this time, even though cases in the United States have gone down. I'm going to read you some numbers. The BA2 sort of been sort of like a low rumble that's been happening. And there's always been this question of, will this variant be a problem? Will it become a problem? Will it grow, et cetera? Well, at this point now, it's up to 12% of new cases here in the United States. So it has been slowly, steadily creeping up. Now, in the United Kingdom and in Europe, it's over 50% of cases that we're seeing. Now, this is what we should talk about because part of the headline for this video was that COVID cases are increasing. So that's BA2, but let me tell you and discuss how. First of all, let me explain what the situation here on the ground is for the US. Cases are down, hospitalizations are down, deaths are down, okay? So now you're like, well, hey, it can't be down and up at the same time. You're right, but let me just go through it. Cases were at 33,310 cases per day. That's down 47% from 2 weeks ago. That's awesome. 27,901 daily hospitalizations, down 43% from 2 weeks ago. That is awesome. Now, by the way, I say awesome in the sense that it's better. It doesn't mean that it's great. Okay, there's still more hospitalizations and cases than we want. Deaths are down to about 1,100 or so per day. That's 33% down from a couple of weeks ago. That's still too high. It's 1,100 deaths per day. That's higher than, at some points during the pandemic, but it's down. Just to give you sort of a global perspective, okay, this is important. The US in general, throughout this COVID pandemic, has logged 79, almost 80 million COVID cases and almost 1 million deaths, about 965,000. From a world standpoint, there's been 460 million cases, 6 million deaths. So I give you all these numbers as I'm going into the data because I want you to just sort of get a frame of reference. Yes, if you feel like cases are better and deaths and hospitalizations, you are absolutely right about that. However, there's been some data that's been popping up recently that makes us concerned that cases start to go up here. And that's what I'm about to tell you about. Oh, by the way, in the United States, about 65% of people are fully vaccinated, and then 44 have their booster as well. So there's a lot of people who still need to get their booster. I literally talk to patients every single day, many of which who are fully vaccinated with the 2 doses, but don't want to get the booster. Guys, you need to get your booster. Okay. Please don't consider it optional, but I digress. Okay. So then you're like, well, what's making us concerned? You say, why, Dr. Jen, is your headline called COVID cases increasing? Because you just told us that the COVID cases are going down. Well, what's making us worried are a few things. Number one, you guys have probably heard about what's going on in China. COVID cases in China are up like literally 377%. I know you guys have heard or seen the headlines. I've been posting posts in my Facebook group. I got the COVID vaccine. By the way, if you're interested in joining that on Facebook, it's in the pinned comment, and on YouTube, it's in the comment in the description of the video. Join that group, and that's all about COVID. So you see that many places in China are on lockdown right now. They are literally on lockdown because of the number of COVID cases and the steep rise in cases. Over 300, almost 400% in the United Kingdom. It's also a place where we're seeing an increase in cases, about 52%, according to some estimates. I know a lot of my followers, a lot of you guys are in the UK. For those of you who are awake right now in the UK, let me know what's going on in your neck of the woods. And by the way, if you watch this on replay, let me know what's happening in the UK. Let me know what's happening in your world. But cases are estimated to be up about 52%. Why that matters, what's happening in China and in the UK, is because the way that this pandemic has gone in the past is that what typically has happened in other parts of the world generally eventually comes around to the United States. We often see trends beginning in other parts of the world, whether it's China, whether it's South Africa, whether it's the UK or what have you, and then we eventually see it come over to the States. So that's one thing that sort of makes scientists concerned, is that we're seeing upticks in other parts of the world. Okay. Now, the other thing that is giving many scientists some pause is wastewater samples. And I know you're like, what? Wastewater? Who? Wastewater samples like sewage. Believe it or not, that's actually one way that we try and track COVID. It's one way to sort of see if COVID is likely to increase in a certain place by tracking sewage. And I know you're saying, what are you talking about? So this is the thing. People with COVID can actually shed COVID-19 virus in sewage, that is wastewater, several days before they ever show symptoms. So we can actually detect COVID-19 in wastewater and in sewage long before the person who was using the restroom or what have you develops symptoms and then goes to get a test, which is then reported. That result is reported to, the health department or the CDC or what have you. So that's how wastewater samples actually can be an indicator of what might be to come. And what we're finding with these wastewater samples, CDC scientists are tracking these. There's different samples of wastewater being tracked in different parts of the country. But basically, they're finding that there is an increase in COVID-19 in wastewater samples that are being detected. Okay. And that could be an early warning sign that COVID cases may increase here in the United States. Now, the truth is, we don't know for sure, but the headline to this video is correct that COVID cases are increasing in many parts of the world, China, the UK, and perhaps other places. The big question is if it's going to increase here. And we think there's going to be. I mean, many scientists seem to think that this is an ominous sign, a warning sign that we may be in for trouble because of these wastewater samples showing increased COVID cases and such. Okay. And also that COVID cases are increasing in other parts of the world. One news source, I think I saw this or heard this quote on NBC Nightly News tonight, but one news source got a quote from Fauci, who was talking about why this may be happening, right? So I know you guys, many of you are reading and you're listening, and welcome, by the way. Thank you for watching, and I love you. You guys are amazing. You're like my people. You know that. You're like my people. Thank you for the stars on Facebook. Thank you for the super chats and super stickers on YouTube. This is the thing. I know many of you are saying, oh my gosh, are we going to have to go in lockdown? Oh my gosh, I'm so sick of this. Oh my gosh, don't tell me another variant. Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? And this is the thing, I've said, and many people have said, that we didn't think we were going to see the end of this, even with the wave going down. I mean, we certainly have sort of released mask mandates, and a lot of restrictions have been released. I saw that the White House is now doing in-house or in-person tours again. A lot of things are sort of going back to normal-ish. But we've known that COVID is not over. Okay. And it wouldn't surprise me, and I've said this before, it wouldn't surprise me if we go through phases where COVID is up and then it's down and then it's up and then it's down and then it's up. It's not to say that we're definitely going to have an up period, but some of the signs that we're seeing make scientists or making some people concerned that we may have an increase in COVID cases. Okay. And that we are headed to that direction. Now, Fauci, said that he feels, why is this happening? He said a few things. Number one, this Omicron BA2 variant. And by the way, for those of you who are saying, oh my gosh, is this a new variant? Well, it's new in the last few months, but it's not new as of today. This is not like, oh, let me tell you about this new variant. Oh, BA2, da-da. No, this is a variant we've been talking about for the last 2 months. It was detected. I did videos on this even back in January when it was first detected. We just didn't know what it would do. And it's still not dominant or like going crazy great guns here, but it's risen here. And we know it's predominant in other places. Anyway, Fauci says we know Omicron BA2 is more transmissible than other variants, but it's not necessarily more severe. So maybe, or perhaps likely, COVID cases are perhaps going to increase, or we're seeing an uptick is because Omicron BA2 is more transmissible. And more transmissible means that it's more easily spread. Something that is more highly transmissible means that it can be spread a lot faster, a lot easier, with a lot less contact, spending less time in person, that you can get it quicker, more easily than something else. That's what more transmissible means. And so if something is more easily transmissible or more transmissible, that means you have to do less to get it. You have to be in harm's way less time to still have a greater chance of getting it. Okay. The other thing he says is that, of course, we've relaxed mask mandates, right? So that's the other thing. We talked about this throughout the whole way. I know how many of you guys feel because you watch my videos. We have talked about this from the beginning. As mask mandates were released, we talked about this a month or two ago. I asked you all, I said, how do you feel? Are you going to go without a mask? A lot of you said, I don't know about this. I don't know that I'm ready about this. But the fact that mask mandates have gone away in many places is naturally going to increase transmission. The other thing is that Fauci also said that there's waning immunity or decreasing immunity from not only natural waning immunity from vaccination or prior infection. So that means for those of you who are like gung-ho natural immunity, which by the way, I am, but I've always said this, natural immunity can wane. Natural immunity does not necessarily mean that it's strong immunity or long-lasting immunity. I've said that. I'm a fan of natural immunity, but it's variable. Natural immunity doesn't mean that you're bulletproof, okay? Natural immunity wanes too. So Fauci is saying the waning of natural immunity and immunity from getting the vaccine is also likely contributing to this risk. Okay. So, and there's likely a number of other sort of factors that are going on. Guys, this is what we have to be thoughtful about. And I'm talking about it right now. I haven't done a COVID vaccine segment or COVID segment in a long time. Okay. We've been talking about other things, general health topics, because for once in a while, we've been able to do that. But you know what? COVID is rearing its head. We don't know that this is going to be an all out. I don't think we'll have a shutdown. I don't think this country would stand for a shutdown. I don't think people would shut down even if they were told to shut down. Do you? Write in the comments. Do you actually think that people would shut down if they had to? I think people would be like, shut who? I know you ain't talking to me. That's just what I think. I think people would, stick up their middle finger to, shut down. But, but the question is, so what does this mean? How many cases are we going to have? How long? We don't know. And maybe this doesn't turn out to be anything. But why I'm talking to you is because there are early signs that suggest that it may be something and that we need to be on guard and that we may be looking at something in the future, meaning more cases. Okay. So what does that mean for you? That means that you need to stop and think about your individual risk. And you just think about your comfort level. You need to think about your tolerance. You need to think about whether you're vaccinated or not. You need to think about what you do for work and who you live with and how high risk people are. All the things I've been telling you to think about in this world where masks are not required in many places, you need to think about that now. And that's how you should make your decisions about whether you mask or not. Also, take into consideration the environment that you're in. Are you in a highly unvaccinated environment, or are you in a mostly vaccinated environment? Are you in an environment with a lot of COVID cases, or are you not? Are you a healthcare worker? Or are you not? It's a lot of stuff to take into consideration, but the bottom line is you've got to do what makes sense for you. And wearing masks are perfectly okay. You guys know that. Just because you don't have to wear a mask doesn't mean that you shouldn't. The other thing I would say too is that, guys, I've said this before, don't play around with not getting vaccinated. Like, if you're not vaccinated, please get vaccinated. And there is no shame in getting vaccinated now. I literally saw someone today who just finished her second vaccine dose. Yeah. Would I have liked everybody in the world to have gotten vaccinated a year and a half ago? Sure. But the most important thing is that you get vaccinated. For those of you who have not gotten your boosters, I would not think about the booster as being something that's optional. As far as I'm concerned, it's not. And we're going to talk about the fourth dose of Pfizer. So don't go anywhere. I know that I'm taking a little bit of time going through this, but I think it's really, really important. So don't go anywhere, because that's what we're going to talk about next. But you got to get your booster, and I'm going to explain why very soon as it relates to Pfizer. So that is the situation with the COVID cases. We're going to have to watch and wait and see. Oh, the other thing I wanted to say is that with spring break coming up, I mean, it just means people are going to be out like wilding out, just kissing each other on the street. Okay, maybe not necessarily, not like maybe not literally, but you know what I'm trying to say. And I see one of you writing that airlines are not necessarily going to require masks at a certain point. You know, there's all these things that are happening, so we shall see. Okay, guys, let me know. We're gonna move to the next topic in just a second, but before we do that, I want to get your opinions and get your thoughts. Um, Write in the comments. How do you feel about this? How does this make you feel? Have you heard these headlines? What are you thinking? What are you feeling? Also, are you masking? Okay. Now, don't go anywhere, my friends, because we got to talk about Pfizer. This is important because a lot of you guys are often asking about fourth doses, fourth boosters, fourth, what's going to happen? Are we going to be required, etc. Today, as of today, Pfizer is requesting, and BioNTech they're requesting FDA approval. That's emergency use authorization for a second COVID booster shot. That would be for people 65 years of age and older. Okay, so that would be a second booster. So, and for 65 and older. So we know that 65 and older are in sort of that immunocompromised, sort of higher risk group. Okay, we know in terms of vaccinations waning and things like that, those are all risks. So remember, Pfizer and Moderna are 2 shots for the initial series, right? You get your first and your second dose. The third dose is your booster. Pfizer is recommending a 4th dose, which would be the second booster. So 2 doses is part of the primary series, 2 doses that are boosters, booster 1 and booster 2. Now, don't be confused at all, because you might be saying, well, wait, I thought there was a 4th dose. Isn't there a 4th dose? There's a 4th dose, right? So if you're thinking that, you're not wrong. There is a 4th dose that certain people are eligible for right now. That 4th dose is not considered a booster for them. Well, actually it is, but I'll explain. For those people who are immunocompromised, who have severely weakened immune systems, on immunosuppressing medications, etc., they qualify for 3 vaccines as part of the primary series instead of the 2 that the rest of us are. And then they get a 4th dose, which is their booster dose. Okay. But for those people that I'm talking about with Pfizer and what they're applying for today, that is for a second booster for those 65 and older. Okay. So you say, well, why? When, how, like what? So this is the thing. A lot of the talking points that I have heard are from the Pfizer CEO. So that's one side of the coin. That's not both sides of the coin. I haven't read the data myself. I haven't read the study data from Pfizer myself. So I can't quote that. But from news articles that I've read and from what the Pfizer CEO says, when they're looking at data from different countries, et cetera, it seems as though, and this is according to the Pfizer CEO, that there's some waning of immunity, meaning lessening of immunity several months after the third dose of any vaccine. Okay. And so once again, let me just take a look here. Yeah. So Pfizer CEO says yes to the 4th booster because protection decreases after the 3rd dose. He did say that it still holds up in terms of protecting against people being hospitalized and dying, but it doesn't hold up so well for people getting infected. What does that mean? That means that even with the booster, the 3rd booster, you are protected from being hospitalized. You're kept out of the hospital. You were likely kept from dying, but you still might actually get it. Okay. And so that's some of the things he cited. Now, let me just be very clear. This is a one-sided discussion right now. I'm only telling you the perspective from the side of the Pfizer CEO. That's all the side I'm telling you. I'm not telling you the side of the scientists. I don't know what they think yet. I haven't read the data. And when the data comes out or is presented or what have you, and the committee's weighed, remember the CDC committee has to look at it. FDA has to look at it. Rochelle Walensky has to sign off. You know this process. So lots of different people have to look at it and decide if they agree with the Pfizer CEO. Remember, in the past, when it's come to booster vaccines, remember how much, hey, Lonnie, how are you? You're a Dr. Jen Superstar. I think you just sent a super chat. Yes, you are vaccinated and boosted. Others should be as well on YouTube. Thank you for writing that. And you are exactly right about that. But this is the thing. Remember when the booster came out for the first boosters came out, there was huge debate between the pharmaceutical companies and the scientists about, well, we think people need boosters. We don't think people need boosters. We think we need them. No, we don't. Yes, we do. No, we don't. And then it was kind of like, well, only these people need them. Well, only those people need, like, it was, the debate was intense. It really was. And we even had, scientists and doctors that at one point said, no, you don't need it, and then changed their mind after things changed, which, by the way, this is part of being in a pandemic, guys. Data changes, situations change, things change. So, my point being is the Pfizer CEO says we need a fourth booster, but do the scientists and the doctors and the people who read this data all the time, the Pfizer CEO probably does too, but do they think we need a fourth booster? Do they, when they look at the data, think that this is necessary? We have to wait and see. Remember, right now, Pfizer vaccine is eligible for 2 doses for age 5 and up, and then people 12 and up can get a booster. Now, what else did I want to tell you? I have all my notes here. Also, did you guys hear? The first gentleman, I think that's the second gentleman, Doug Emhoff, which is Vice President Kamala Harris's husband. He has been diagnosed with COVID, by the way. Just wanted to give you that news. But yes, so in terms of boosters, I know you guys are going to say, well, when would we get the booster? Like, when is it going to happen? That's all that stuff we just don't know. We just don't know all that stuff yet. We don't know if it's going to be approved, if the data is going to hold up, when it's going to be approved for. Many scientists are saying that the COVID vaccine may look like a seasonal flu vaccine. It would not surprise me if we had to get a COVID vaccine every year. And you know what? I would do it. I'd be like, okay, go ahead. Here, Mom. Go ahead. Right? What are you going to do? If we need the vaccine, as far as I'm, as far as I'm concerned, yes, we need it. Robert on YouTube, you said Obama has COVID. Yes, he does. Barbara on Facebook, I see you. Hello back at you. Let's see here. The other thing I wanted to say is, I had other stuff to say. So that's the stuff about the COVID vaccine booster. Also, data about COVID cases. Rufus, thank you for your super chat on YouTube. I so appreciate you. You're one of my Dr. Jen superstars. By the way, just another plug for my free group called I Got the COVID Vaccine. That is a free group on Facebook. On YouTube, just check out the description of this video so you can join on Facebook. It's on the pinned comment. We only talk about COVID in that group. You can post about when you get your booster, your vaccine, what you think, how you feel. When your kids get it, all that good stuff. We post articles, etc. So that is only for COVID. And Shelly, I agree with you on Facebook. COVID does not discriminate. Tony, you just joined us. Well, hello back at you. The other thing I would say too is, I have my other groups, Healthy Living with Dr. Jen, where I post about all sorts of stuff. By the way, just posted today on Healthy Living with Dr. Jen, by the way, I don't know if you guys saw this, that daylight savings time may be completely done away with. You guys might remember I just did a live last night about how exhausted I have been since daylight savings time. We might be doing away with that. So we will have to certainly see. That's going to be very important. Rufus, thank you for your second super chat. So appreciate that. So this is the thing, guys. If you have not commented in the comments, okay, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook, I want you to let me know. How do you feel about all this? How does this make you feel? We are talking about this because I'm trying to explain what's happening, but also try to get us ready for if we do have another surge, we won't be blindsided, right? This is really important. To not be blindsided, to pay attention to what's happening, to change behaviors, to act accordingly. A few other things to remind you about. You can order your second free COVID test kits from the government at covidtest.gov. If you have not already, please do that. In fact, I got mine the other day. Actually, my COVID tests this year looked like the second one looks a lot different than the first ones I ordered. I'm actually going to post a picture of that for those of you in my Dr. Jen Superstars group, my subscription group on Facebook. I'm going to post a picture of that there. It looks like a totally different test, it's a whole different color box and everything like that. So I'll post that in my subscription group. For those of you who want to join my subscription group, we do weekly lives that are private. It's a private group. We're actually very friendly. We're friends with one another. It's a very tight knit group, and it's a gem. It's a lovely thing. So just wanted to let you guys know. Oh, and remember, don't forget that you can still get free N95 masks. So I would say this. I'm not saying we're going to have a whole nother surge and it's going to be crazy, but prepare yourselves. Get those free N95s from your local community centers, your local pharmacies. Remember, they were doing that about a month ago or so, and I think people kind of like it just dropped because COVID got better. Go to your CVS, your Rite Aid, your Walgreens, and ask for free N95s so that you can have them and you can stock up and be ready in case COVID cases increase. Make sure you request your COVID tests so that you have those on hand. It's honestly what I'm doing. I'm telling my parents to do it. I'm not telling them to stockpile, but I'm telling them to get what is available to them. Okay, and I want that for you all too. Guys, it is lovely to be with you. You guys know you are my heart and soul, and I so appreciate every time you guys join me. It just warms my heart. I hope this is helpful. We haven't done a video or a live like this in a while because we haven't had to, thank goodness. But we are, at least today, having to talk about this. So once again, let me know how you're doing. Let me know how you're feeling. Let me know your questions, your comments in the comments. Make sure you get your booster if you have not already, and get vaccinated if you've not done that already. Okay, guys, you're amazing. I do love y'all. Okay, talk to you soon. All right, YouTube. Love y'all. Bye.